Hey, bro.
Yo.
Yeah, text me. Can you text me an invite link? I'm gonna forward it to Hannah. She said she'll come on with us right now.
Text it. That's a little difficult. Um,
How do you usually text it to me? You always text it to me. Can you just go online on your other device real quick to text it to me or something?
yeah, that's the thing. I got to get on my iPad, and then if I jump on Zoom, then I got to cancel the one on the PC. And let's see if I can do it here.
Well, there is a Zoom meeting in progress. The Big Fire Zoom meeting has started. I don't know if that's the same link or not. Location. Maybe I could try to send that link. Let me try. All right, cool.
I just texted it to you.
All right. Let me get it. 832. I'm at 832. I gotta remember that. I got it. 832. 506 49. 506. Let me save it right. Great contact. B. Check this. And yeah.
There's Ken. Looks like.
All right. Texas Hannah. Brian just sent me this.
Hey, Ken.
What up, fella?
What do you say, Chief?
Not much. I'm in Mobile.
Oh, that's right. Cool, man. How's the folks?
Oh, they're all right. They're just chilling out, man, upstairs.
How long you been there today?
I got here at 2:00.
Okay, so you've checked in with them and your
Oh
book.
yeah, we spent some time, visited, and ran to the store. Went and got a shot of wheatgrass.
Oh, that's right. At the Whole Foods.
Hey, Kenny.
No, there's a place over here that mashes it. It's called Fresh. It's a little sandwich shop. Who's
Oh,
that? Is
that's
that
Hey,
Mike?
Kenny. Mike. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's up, man?
I just invited a woman. She's going to be joining us here in a minute, so we're going to kind of give her the floor. She's out in Texas.
Okay.
She seemed really cool on the phone, and I invited her to come on with us. So I just sent her the link. She should be on here shortly. She said she'd join in. She really
Okay.
was telling me that she, wanted to call and support us and, show her gratitude, and she really appreciates what we're doing. And so I'll let her kind of repeat all that when she comes in here with us.
all right. Excellent.
As soon as,
So before she comes, is it true that Florida has relaxed all of the guidelines?
What?
whatever that means, right?
Um,
I don't know. I mean, that's in theory, right? I mean,
No, but Facebook is advertising that Florida's done with it. They're never going to lock down again.
well, I mean, you got the,
Right?
hey, is
Hannah?
it? Hey,
Hi. Hi, you guys.
hey.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. I can't join with the camera.
That's right.
Um yeah, but we'll do it hopefully in the future. But how are you guys doing?
Good. I'm Mike. Can you see me here?
Yeah, I can see you. Yes.
I'm in. I'm
You
in
look
my.
like the
I'm in
guy in the
my.
video.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in my car right now.
Yeah.
Running errands, but
Yes.
Brian.
Yeah, I'm Brian in Fort Pierce, Florida.
And nice to meet you, dear. And I'm Hannah. I go by Hannah, and I live in Houston. And I was telling Mike, I came across his material on one of Tom Barnett's videos. Amanda was on there. She's somebody I have been listening to.
Right.
And I'm sure, as you guys know, we have to get our source of information, like accurate, reliable, credible information, from other sources, which is why I rely completely on a very few. Tom Barnett is one of them. Amanda's one. Dr. Andy Kaufman is another one.
Oh, we love him.
So I just wanted to take a moment to really thank Mike, because he put himself, I saw a couple of those videos, particularly the one at that library was just, just outrageous. And
That's what Kenny
for
said.
putting your, yeah, for putting yourself in a really just a not a pleasant situation, could potentially be dangerous for, frankly, a vast majority of people who just don't seem to care. And I live in a state where I never in my life thought I would see Texans walking around not only wearing these masks and suffocating themselves, but actually giving each other a hard time. So if for not wearing a mask, I mean, the insanity is just absolutely, I can't describe it.
Yep.
Once you get outside of the city, it's a little bit, people are more reasonable. They're more, I wouldn't say laid back. They just don't want to be messed with.
Right.
And they try to arrange all of their errands, together, so they can avoid going to public places as much as possible. But they have a different kind of attitude. But in the cities, there's this construct, and everybody's just, anxious. Everybody's just angry. Everybody's at each other's throats. And another thing I noticed, which I don't know if you guys have come across this, but these mandates, which absolutely you're correct, they do not cancel out federal law. They do not supersede the Constitution. And you're absolutely correct about that. But it seems like not only is it being used as a tool to just discriminate against people and not give people a choice to not wear a mask and just dictate this, but it's being as a tool for intimidation and harassment. I don't know if y'all have seen that, because that's another legal angle. Some of these store clerks or people, and I'm not trying to reduce people based on what they do for a living, because I've done all kinds of jobs. I can't judge anyone for that. But they really seem to have taken these regulations too far, and the tone and the way with which they actually enforce, or they think they have the authority to enforce, this discriminatory rules, the way they do it in itself is kind of, it really just amounts to harassment, and I don't know what other legal category it would fall under, but it really feels like harassment. They're not even doing it in a private manner. They'll
Right,
just
really-
yell at you in front of everybody. No privacy, no, yeah.
You hit it with those two words: intimidation and harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are falling for it. If Texans can fall for it, I'm telling you, this is a tough bunch. I mean, I've lived here for a long time. I've never seen people so scared and just so submissive.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it really
Tragic.
is. Yeah,
Tragic.
absolutely. But anyways, without dwelling too much on the negativity, I just wanted to really take a moment to thank you, because what you're doing is fantastic. When people look back, because this is going to pass, and people will look back, and you and Amanda and a few others. There's another gentleman out in Australia. I forget his name. I think his name is also Mike.
Tom Barnett.
Know Your Rights Group. Do you know who I'm talking about? Know Your Rights Group.
Yeah, I've heard Tom talk about him. I think I can't think of who it is specifically.
Yeah, so basically, and I remember at the time when I was watching him, and this was before, any of this Corona stuff happened. I was wondering, is there somebody here in the U.S. that could be doing the same thing, and it seems like you guys are doing that. So, thank you so much. And really, I was telling Mike, I wanted to reach out and just offer you my solidarity, my support. My profession, I'm a trained and certified hypnotherapist. I'm a life coach. I do a little bit of spiritual work, like, spiritual guidance. Some people call it ESP abilities, but that's not really my bread and butter. My bread and butter is hypnosis. So if y'all ever find yourselves in need of, just support or understanding or service, really, because you're given to us. I printed your um, the notice that you have on your website, and I'm planning to go to the elevator and just and tape it there, because they put a sign there saying that anybody getting on the elevator has to put on a mask. And I've been already threatened by this very old lady who seems very malnourished, and the last of her concerns should be a virus. She looks like she was gonna pass out from malnutrition. I wanted to help her, but the people they just don't want the contact. She started freaking out when I stepped out of the elevator, went downstairs, told them, oh, she's not wearing a mask. I said, first of all, I have a condition. Second of all, I wasn't aware that they just put that sign on. And secondly, I mean, there's exceptions. You can't just expect everybody now. I've been living here for 5 years. You can't just now change the rules. So
Right.
I'm actually going to go tape that on the elevator,
Excellent.
right below their little sign. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the things that, this has been a process for us as well. I mean, our website's pretty young. I mean, it's only, 5 months old, the website, and it's doing great. We've put a lot of heart and soul and time and effort into it. And the ADA flyer was even kind of representative of our early, efforts as well at, seeing that and hearing about it. And, that seemed like that was the kind of one of the first things people could kind of, lean on, was the ADA flyer to have some support. But sure enough, in time, police officers are being instructed to disregard them and say, oh, you got that off the internet. Oh, that's just a fake thing. And we'll tell the officers, no, it's not invalid. It's simply an official notice to let you know that I have a health condition, and I do not have to tell you what the health condition is. Frankly, every single person has a health condition. It's called not rebreathing your own carbon dioxide and your own bacterial waste that's occurring in your mouth back into your lungs, in and out all day long.
Absolutely.
So everybody has a health condition, and even religious basis, right? I mean, federal civil rights covers our religious beliefs and practices. And if I believe in God Almighty, my creator, and I don't believe that my creator expected or designed me to cover my vital airways and to cover my expressions and my face, then I'm not going to do it. I don't believe I was created to be that way.
Yeah.
So, to the extent that it started with the ADA flyer.
We lost him. Yeah, Hannah,
but I'll still keep the ADA flyer there. But we have identified, the letter of the law, right? We kind of moved on to, okay, Americans with Disabilities Act Title III, and then we found the section 36.102. But then we looked at the whole law and we found the specifics of, the non-discrimination mandate, prohibition of discrimination under 42 USC. So there's really like 2 or 3 legal paragraphs that I plan on copying and pasting into a form as well, because it says it perfectly. Here's your legal basis, right? Here's the actual law, because that was kind of missing early on. People didn't, and Brian and I spent a lot of time digging it up. Researching. It's amazing how it's like they had that stuff buried, and just out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. Nobody even knew what the law was. They're hearing about the law, but nobody knew what the law was. They were just hearing about the law. So we spent hours and days, Brian and I, getting on, researching, finding the actual laws, and it was a process. So we pretty much do have it down to a science now. We've got all the recipes in order. In fact, I just sent out a video, an email rather, today that I sent to the governor of Florida, the Miami-Dade County manager, the Department of Civil Rights in Florida, an attorney who's on our state representative here, and to the Department of Justice. And I'm going to send that email to everybody. Every American should be sending it to their governors and mayors and to the DOJ and to the president, because it really, kind of encapsulates what I'm telling you now about how I finally got it to boom, boom, boom. You know, it's got 4 facts. Here's a fact, here's a fact, here's a fact, here's a fact. Now, who's going to answer for it? Who's going to remedy the law? Who's going to stand up for the law? Who's going to say, this is civil rights, this is America, this is people's rights. You cannot force somebody against their will to cover their vital airways, period. And they have the right to not be discriminated against in any place of public accommodation. Otherwise, it would not be defined as a place of public accommodation. Just today, I called the FBI's office, and it was despicable. It wasn't an agent, but it was one of the intakes. And when I was telling them what the issue had to do with being, you know, that I do not wear a mask, and there's places of public accommodation under federal law, she said, well, you know, that's just the policy of the store. I'm going to let you go. Bam, and just hung up on
Oh, shit.
It's not the policy of the store. It's federal civil rights that in any place of public accommodation, you must receive the same full and equal access to the same goods, services, facilities, and accommodations that are provided therein. So who's going to stand up? I've called for the Attorney General, Bill Barr, to do it. I've called for my mayor to do it. I've called for my governor to do it. I'm calling for all Americans to latch onto that letter and to send it to their own mayor, their own governor, to the DOJ. So that's where I'm at with it. And I plan on putting this real succinct little kind of along with that ADA form. I'm going to have the actual laws right there with it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
Tim just
Yeah.
joined us. He's in Canada. I'm just going to let him know that Hannah's on the line from Houston, along with Ken in Baton Rouge. But anyway,
Hi, Tim.
he's muted.
Hi, who am I talking to?
Oh, well, the new person here is Hannah. I'm from Houston.
Oh,
How are
Hannah
you?
from Houston. HH. Hi, I'm horrific or
Hey,
terrific.
Tim.
Mike,
Hey,
hi.
Tim. How you doing, buddy? Dr. Fakeologist.
Yeah.
Yep, that's me.
Tim's got a great site called fakeologist.com. Check it out. It's really good. And fakotube.com. He's got amazing stuff on there.
Psychologist. I need to look that up. That sounds right up my alley. Um,
And Brian is a great commenter over there. Brian's really moving up the ranks in terms of frequency.
Tim sends out, I guess, 4 or 5 or 6 emails a day with cool videos and audio and stuff. And
that's automatic. You must have signed up for email me a post.
Probably, yeah, but
yeah,
you
that's
got
a good way to get it. It's a good way to get the post.
You got the headings great where you have to check it out because it's so appealing.
Thank you, Brian. I try and be a little bit witty to draw you in. Sometimes I'm lazy and just let it go automatically to whatever the YouTube title is. Sometimes I don't think I could do any better, so I just leave it. Because I do want it to be descriptive, so you know what you're looking at. Go ahead, Mike.
As you can see, Hannah, Dr. Fakeologist, he doesn't come on live with the camera either. He just took a picture of himself and he uses his picture.
He has trimmed his beard last
Well,
week.
honestly, I don't think it adds anything to see me. I'm not putting on a show. I'm not a dancing monkey. So really, it just sucks up bandwidth.
No, but the picture's great. We love that picture.
Yeah, it's good.
are you talking about the Corona, the beer? I'm looking at the beer.
Yep.
I think I have the right fakeologist.com and then.
Oh yeah, you're on the website.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah,
I'll be right back, you guys.
That's
That's
the
great.
COVID, that's the COVID plushie. They gave that out at Event 201 last year.
Oh, did they? That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all. They don't really think very much of the vast majority of people, do they? They really don't think people can figure things out or are capable of thinking for themselves, and I guess for the most part, they might be right.
They are right.
Because
Yeah,
I
right.
live in an area where, like, had I been living somewhere else that was more, I don't know, laid back, I guess, or more, or actually, no, not laid back, neurotic, like New York or a bigger city, I can understand. I would expect that. But down here, like, it's just bizarre. Like it's really bizarre. And I think it's just the mayor here in Houston is so corrupt that sending him a letter would not do anything really, because a lot of us have tried doing that already. We
They're all
tried
bought.
calling the
They're all
city.
bought. They're all bought and paid for.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There was something that came out.
Is
I can't
Houston a
remember where.
strong city?
Well, it's getting stronger because we're getting migration from the north.
No.
We're
You're not getting it. There's a list of strong cities where
ah
they are Agenda 21 cities that I think it's named after Maurice
oh, is
Strong.
you? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Well, I
absolutely. It
don't
is.
know. I don't know if it is. I can't remember. I read a list of the
Yeah, it
strong
is.
cities in America. There's about 10 of them. And one of
Yeah,
them's Nashville, one of them's New York City, one of them's Los Angeles, one of them's
yeah,
San Diego,
yeah.
Denver, Aurora, Colorado. Yeah, they're fully signed up to the Agenda 21.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I
yeah.
Our
have,
No,
prime
so
minister, I just posted a video of our prime minister. He is just literally explained how we are literally completely sold out to the United Nations. He just does. He doesn't even
mm-hmm,
hide it. He's not hiding
mm,
at all. They're so
mm.
bold. They're so emboldened now because
No,
they
they don't
know
have
that the
to.
population is so lackadaisical and they're so hypnotized.
Yeah.
It's really pathetic. Oh
Yeah,
well.
it's very true.
well,
What
that's,
can I get?
I would have to say that Houston is definitely has to be a strong city, and it was the first city to install 5G, and the mayor announced that with such pride, and I remember that was last year. So yeah, they're signed up
Well, this.
too. They have to be.
Well, yeah, the city wouldn't have installed it. There would have been the mobile carriers doing that.
Yes, yes. So
I'm guessing.
yeah, when he made the announcement, Houston was going to be the first city to allow Verizon to
Oh, I
install
see.
5G. Yeah, but I mean, he might as well be an employee of Verizon. I mean, city might as well be, Verizon,
Well, sorry,
property.
your name is Heather? No,
Hannah.
Hannah.
Uh-huh.
Hannah. I loved your movie, Hannah and Her Sisters. That was a great
Uh,
one.
yeah, that was a great movie. I loved it. That was
Oh, you
yeah,
did?
good taste. Yeah, very good taste. Yeah,
I'm a
I
huge
love the
Woody Allen
music.
fan, even though he's a pathetic soul, but he is so smart in his
That's true.
movies.
That was a good movie. That's true. I
Most of his stuff is so smart. I wonder if he writes any of it, but he says he does. But anyway, um,
Tim's a good, great movie buff and music
not
buff.
really.
And he can
I
pull
don't
up.
really watch movies.
Oh,
No,
really?
that's not me.
Yeah, but you seem to know about all of them, and you can pull up clips from just about anything instantly and play them on the Zoom.
Well,
Which
those are things I've saved. I have a huge clip directory, but no, I'm not very good with movies.
okay.
I didn't even see the Star Wars movies, none of them.
Wow.
And I'm only saying that because my wife went to the movie theater today with my daughter to watch Empire Strikes Back, which I don't even know which movie that was. The second one, she says.
Right.
The entire movie theater was empty. The entire complex was empty.
Oh yeah.
And they went. It was $3 movie night. $3 movie day. So
Yeah.
the ticket is almost free.
Right.
The only thing that costs money is the popcorn was $30 for 2 people, popcorn and drinks.
Yeah,
It was 30.
They can't be making any money.
No. So it seems to me they're going to be shutting down all the cinemas. They're all going to shut down. That's part of the program.
I guess it's possible.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I went and saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind on Sunday, and
Oh, wow, you're really going retro.
we were well, just because I was in it. I mean, I do like the movie, but yeah, they filmed it in our neighborhood in Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. But
Bama.
yeah, I mean Bama, and they were
Brian, you got to watch that. You got to listen to the podcast that I recommended back. I'm not sure if it was on your show. It was, I think it's fiction, but I think it's fiction, but you should listen to it. It's really a good one. It's called, it might be called Serial, Serial, Serial.
okay.
You gotta listen to that. I think you like it because it's based in small town Alabama.
Oh, okay.
You might identify with it more
They
because
talk like this a lot of times.
I don't remember. I listened to it a year ago.
Okay. Y'all
I
check.
think it's one of this is the fun part. I think that a lot of these quote unquote crime stories, they're all fake. But they're so convincing that you don't even think about the aspect that this could all be fictional. But they always make it sound like it's true. So,
I agree with you. As you know, you and I pretty much always agree on that stuff.
yeah.
Is Hannah still with us?
Yep. Yep.
I'm here.
All
I'm just
right.
listening to you guys. So do you
Yeah.
guys do this what's today? Today's Tuesday. So you guys have like a conference call?
Every
And
Monday through Friday at
okay,
8. So you
gotcha.
can join us
Okay,
any night.
How did you find this
wonderful.
conference call, Hannah?
So I've been following, as you know, I don't get any of my information from mainstream, so I'm used to looking for credible information on YouTube, and I've come across Tom Barnett a few months ago, actually, when this whole coronavirus started, and I found out about him from Max Egan, who was another great, voice in the truth movement, et cetera. And I'm very, I'm very, very careful with where I get my information, and I have to give it the, credibility test and the intuitive test. And Tom Barnett, Amanda, and a couple of other individuals were on this video conference call, and Mike was there, and I was really captivated by his charisma and the way he was presenting the information, and went and checked out his website and saw the flyer, and it made perfect sense. And the thing that I love about it, because I've seen a few circulating around, but none of them actually mentioned the Department of Justice, and none of them mentioned the amount. And the first thing that the eye goes to is what? Yeah, that line there with the 75,000, 150,000. That knowing how scared everybody is already and how anxiety prone they are, when you give them something like this, they'll leave you alone. So I thought the presentation was great. And I'm all about integrity and credibility and common sense. And so that's how I ended up here, and
Well,
just called Mike today to thank him, because I know that what you guys are doing is a great service for a lot of people for those who are aware and don't know how to find the information, and for those who are not aware and need to be educated. Like, you're doing a great service for a lot of people, and very few people actually take the time to acknowledge that. So that's how I ended up here. And
Appreciate
of
it
course
very
I had
much.
yeah, of course. I had I had a moment today, because it's not always like nice and polite and calm. Sometimes you're not able to do that. I was at Costco today because I like to get all of my necessities out of the way at once,
sure.
to try to reduce the amount of store visits I have to make.
Mm-hmm.
Because being a woman, being 5'1" and, petite, and walking into a store alone, you get harassed a lot more. And I just don't like I don't like the tyranny. It just feels very oppressive. Just going and picking up things feels very oppressive. So I try to avoid doing that as much as possible. And I was in there today, and I make it over to the toilet paper aisle, and this woman, this lady, very she was struggling with health, like she's in bad health, she's in bad shape. She's breathing very heavily, she has her face completely covered. I walk in with a mask, but I wear it below my nose. I'm not going to wear it above my nose, and very rarely will anybody give me a hard time. Every now and then you'll get somebody looking at you funny, and you just ignore them. But this one actually yelled at me from across the aisle and said, "You need to cover your nose." And I said, "Well, I have a condition, ma'am." And I was very polite. And she said, "Well, I have a condition too." And I said, "Well, then you really definitely shouldn't be wearing the mask." And I felt like telling her and a few other people that they would have more credibility talking about health if they treated their bodies better. But I mean, what does that do? Because that's the reality, though. You can't. The idea emboldening people to think that they can actually trespass into someone else's personal space and talk down to them and tell them, give them this information and speak to them in a way that is, like she's speaking in the imperative. She wasn't asking politely. She was telling me. And that I think that's really the most dangerous part of this whole thing, in addition to all the negative health effects that this can have. Luckily for me, I work from home, so I don't have to be in an office, but I can't even imagine having to be somewhere wearing a mask, all day long. One of the guys,
Hannah, I'm sorry. I just have to interject this thought, because you just brought up something that we're probably all aware of, but you just made it really go off like a light in my head. And that is, and this is huge. They've got it where they've created this situation where other people now, even by way of their own ego and power trip, get off on telling somebody else what to do. Put that mask on.
yeah,
Get your
and not only
mask
that,
on.
but actually harassing you
They've
in,
been
in,
told
in
to
threatening
snitch.
ways. The
They've
old
been
lady
told to
was actually,
snitch.
yeah,
That's right.
she,
Let
well,
me
that's one thing.
let me throw this for you too. A couple months back, there was a manager at a Publix here. Publix is our big grocery store in Florida. And this was early on. This was probably within the first month or two when they started doing the mask crap back in April or May or whatever. And this manager, I was really ticked off about it. And I'd had the mask, but I'd pull it down and I wasn't going to wear it. It really perturbed me. I didn't like it. I couldn't have that thing on. So this manager, was harassing me and trying to intimidate and harass me with his attitude, and at the end, to make a long story short here, when I was by the register and he started calling for the police to come because I like ripped it down and it ripped and it wouldn't go over my nose. He looks over at me and he goes, I pulled it back up over my nose. He goes, that's right. Get that mask back up over your beak. I mean, there are people that would have gave him a pop in the face, but
yeah, absolutely.
I kept my cool. But that's an example of the just the lowliness of how people can be with this thing.
Yeah, it's making harassment acceptable now. You
Right,
can't
exactly.
just go. It was. I don't know if you saw this video with Amanda and a few other doctors, where one of the doctors, I really like this guy. He moved from a northern state, either New Jersey or New York. I can't remember. He moved to North Carolina, and what they do is they go together in groups without a mask.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more effective. And I can actually see that. They say they just go into the store. Some of them, of course, they don't care about the number. They just turn them away anyways. And he says, well, we don't give them our business. And, the ones that let us in without a mask we become friends with. And I think that's a really great idea. And you can afford to do that if you're in a group of people and there's men around. But like going alone is like an invitation to be just harassed and checked by every single person, from the person that lets you in the door to the person that checks you out. It's like everybody's police now. But I like that idea of going together in groups and doing what you need to do together in groups.
I'm actually doing that in Fort Pierce here. I've got a list started of people that I see, the very few people that I see without mask in Publix, Home Depot, Walmart, and I get their email and I ask them if I can email them and let them know we're going to go shopping together, as a group of 5 or 10 or 50 or whatever. And they say,
that's a great idea.
So once I get it, enough people, we'll set a date to go shopping at Publix or Walmart or something and just, let other people see that you can take your mask off and not, be shot or anything. So
Shot by a Karen with an iPhone.
exactly. Sent to the Gestapo. The picture.
Hey Kenny, did you get my my Rush band recommendation? Did I already give that to you?
Yeah, I got it. I watched it. Those guys are good, man. That's not an easy song, That's off of the Clockwork Angels record.
Yeah. Well, that was just one song. I thought you might look at them all. They're unbelievable.
Yeah, they're talented. You can tell. No doubt.
Did I give that to you before? I couldn't remember.
No, Brian sent me the link.
Yeah, you asked me to send it to him, and I watched
No,
it.
I know that, but I was wondering if I gave it to him before, maybe a month ago.
I don't know, but I enjoyed it because it took me back to when I saw him in concert in Miami. It felt like the same feeling. It was great.
Now, look, I wanted to tell Hannah. Hannah, are you there?
Here.
Okay. If you go back to the Tom Barnett site, and there's a video called Uncle Odd,
Ah,
and Tim is on that, and
That's
so
it.
he's on the Tom Barnett site also.
hmm
Yeah,
Okay.
they did a video.
I've never actually been on his site. I don't think I have been.
Well,
I've
come on,
listened to him.
FakeOtube, fakeotube.com, FakeOtube, fakeotube.com. That's where I post all my favorite videos. I just posted my new guy that I'm getting into his stuff. His name is Christopher James something, but he goes by Christopher James, his first and second name. And he'll tell you why he does that. I can't remember what exactly the reason is. This guy is all about the natural man and the natural woman and not contracting with the corporation of the United States or the corporation of Canada. And it's really simple and it's very interesting. I don't know if it works. He says he doesn't advertise when it does work. He doesn't want to bring too much attention. Have you ever heard of any of this, Hannah?
No, but what I do have, I mentioned the guy with the Know Your Rights group in Australia, and I've heard him talk about common law. He's very knowledgeable about that. And then when I did my own research, I came across a couple of books I got on Amazon, and I know this is going to sound very hard to believe. They have titles, but no author. And I have a sneaky feeling that the author is some clever, person who just educated themselves about the law, and they wrote all of that down. He wrote about the straw man. He wrote about what is it called? This Meet Your Straw Man and whatever you want to know. It's a small, book. It's only about 80 pages, but it's packed with information. And there's a separate one about common law, and it's very hard to find because there's no author. He doesn't, I don't even know how he collects money for these pamphlets, because that's essentially what they are. Like, just, they're very thin. But yeah, I've been studying about that, and I am of the opinion that not contracting with a system that's clearly corrupt is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But also trying to fight the corruption is not really, from my personal opinion. I admire those who do, but in terms of like allocating energy and time and etc., I just don't see myself going against the corrupt system. I have no interest in them fixing it or not. I just want to drop out of it, and being armed with information to be able to do that without risking going to jail. That's basically my goal. And
Yeah,
I
I think
admire
it's a
people
worthy goal. Mhm.
yeah. I admire people who go against the system and confront politicians and all of this. I just, I just don't have the energy or the focus for that at this point in life.
That's why we got Mike on our side.
Mike's
I'm
the man.
happy to support in other ways. I think that I believe in, reciprocation, and when somebody does something great for a large number of people, that, there has to be, some reciprocation in some way. And that's
I could tell
basically,
you, just to interject on that, in theory, Brian and I, we actually, obviously everybody that's out there, they have supporters and they have, their donations and their GoFundMe accounts, and because we all need money in this world one way or another.
sure.
And to the extent that Brian and I, when we first did the big virus hoax, we didn't have a donation page, we didn't have PayPal, nothing, because our thoughts were 100% on getting the truth out. We got to let people know the truth about viruses. Let's make a great hub where the Amanda Vollmers and the Dr. Kaufmans and all the great scientists and doctors that know what's going on are in the site, just compiling information. But we really realized
Well, everybody has a donation page. I mean, we could get donations. There are expenses involved. And then we created recently a GoFundMe account where a couple people joked or criticized me that I put it at $1 million, but it's genuine. It's not for me. I made a fund because if I can get that fund, in theory, if it was funded, we'd be using it for a dream team of legal minds, because I do want to stand up to the system and what's wrong about it and try to, at least make things right to the extent where it's legally viable, that there are rights, there are laws. I agree with the whole thing about not contracting with them, but at the same time, I think there's a level that can be approached as well to say, hey, look, you got this right and you need to fix it. But, to the extent that, if Brian and I had the funding, we would literally be driving from mayor's office to mayor's office through every city. We'd be going to every governor's office, and we'd be bringing essentially a little document that had the laws on it and a very excellent articulation of reality. And we'd be, putting it everywhere, in the offices of the governors and the Department of Justice. We'd be going to senators' offices and Congress offices. So we would be doing that. But again, we're limited by finance. It's just amazing what you can and can't do based on your financial condition. But we are pursuing that. That's why we created our own, PayPal and our own little donation page and our own GoFundMe page. Because
hey, Mike, I found a new guy named Christopher James up here. You might want to look into this guy for a solution.
Well,
You can either fight the system, or get a solution. Because you only have so many years on this planet.
I watched those, Tim. I watched the 3 videos, and it's it's nice. I just wonder, how does it correlate to the USA?
Of course.
Does it?
Any country under common law, any country that's was conquered or is conquered by England, of course, for sure. The Magna Carta.
So the USA is common law.
Of course.
Yeah.
Quebec, which is a French holdout in Canada, they're under civil law, even though it's the same country. They're sort of a country within a country. They've always been that way.
That's what he said, yeah.
But yeah, he's very interesting. Very interesting. I was trying to figure out in my own mind how the people that rule over us set up this system underneath common law. So I'm trying to envision it like, here's a question I ask. When I say internet, what do you think of? If I say the internet, what do you think of, Brian?
Being able to connect with people anywhere in the world.
I guess a better question is, what do you think most people spend most of their time on what they call the internet?
Watching cat videos, probably.
YouTube. Okay, what does Hannah say? When you think of the internet, where do you go and where do you spend your time?
Social media, ultimately, Google. That's
Google.
the big giant. Social media and Google. That's what I think.
Right.
Cracker Jack.
Well, yeah.
Hey, Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jack, where do you spend your time in what you call the internet? Where do you dwell?
I go on various web pages that are related to what I'm looking to understand.
But where do you spend most of your time? There has to be a place.
Probably YouTube.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what I mean. So everyone has a place they call the internet. They'll say, "Oh, I was on the internet all day," but really they're on a place that was set out for them, like YouTube, like Facebook, a place that's super easy to use, super easy to get information, super easy to communicate, and it's free. And therefore, when something is free, the price is you and your information. So you're giving up all that free research to their data miners, and so the cost is your information, and you don't even feel yourself giving it up. But the point is that they've created
places where everybody goes. They suck them in. So it's the same way with, I think we started off with common law where we had judges, we had juries that were our peers. We didn't have a police force because we were all self-policing. So we went under, I guess, maybe the Noahide laws, which is about 7 laws with which to function. I'm not sure exactly if I'm speaking correctly. And when we had a beef that we could not solve between each other, we'd have a common court where we get together with a jury and they'd decide, and it would be it. So the person that I trespassed against, or caused or caused a damage to, we would settle it right there. Now, I think that they set up this corporation nation underneath common law. So they set up this really convenient place called countries and corporations where we all function as corporations. So when we're born, it's literally like we're born into a monopoly game where we're given our little piece, our birth certificate, and we're in the system without even acknowledging it or accepting it. So therefore, we're all in this big arena called corporation nation, where the minute we're born into it, we've automatically agreed to the terms and conditions. So I think because it's so easy, everything is done for us. It's just so easy to do commerce. They've set up this playground underneath common law. And I think this is where this Chris James comes in, because he's saying, listen, just like YouTube is not the internet, YouTube is just a safe, what they call safe or convenient place. This corporation nation that we're all living in is where we're all interacting and doing commerce under their rules. But common law is above that. So if we want to get out of this playground that is dominated 99% of the world, then we have to just step outside of this convenient corporation nation that we all live in, and then re-identify ourselves as, no, I'm a natural man. The person is in your corporation, and I do not. The person is something you set up for me. It's sort of my game piece. That's not me. So I think that this is the best analogy I can give for what this Chris James guy is saying. He says, no, when you go to their court, you can identify yourself as the natural man and not the person that you agreed to all these terms and conditions. So the person may be subject to all your laws, but this natural man is not. I'm in common law, and if we have a grievance, we can settle it in common law terms, but we're not settling it in your court. So I think I'm just trying to get a handle of what he's saying, and I think you can do that. And there's nothing they can do because they're set up under common law. They've set their system up under common law, so they have to abide by these rules. So anyway,
Chris James said that if you go to court or something, you don't want to ever use any of their documents.
Right.
Want to bring in your own information and make them do what you ask them to do or tell them to do.
So really, we have to make people aware of the game. Make people aware that we're in the game. And someone like Mike, who likes to explain things to people, I think this is something Mike should sink his teeth into. It might be the way around the system. You're never going to beat the system back. There are too many zombies walking around, and they're all enforcers. They're all deputized. You're never going to be able to push water uphill. So that's why we can coexist, because they don't own the highways that we paid for. So we can coexist in parallel. So we can just go about our business as natural man in parallel to their system. I don't know how much we have to exit the system, but I think it's worth looking into.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, always in the back of my mind, I've been, gradually adapting as much as I can, as often as I can, about the reality of the game and, the two parallel universes and how they might coincide, and, being a sovereign man
and separate and apart from the system, which which so many of us know is corrupt and undesirable, and we don't care for it. So yeah, I mean, I guess there's that lingering issue of really, it would be nice if there was an actual 2-hour videotape of somebody going from A to Z through the entire process of the reality, right? Of all these things you hear about. Because, as far as, this thing about, being a sovereign and not having, not engaging in a contract, and that everything is, I forget the lingo they use, but everything is based on, terms and
You're either a man or a
words
woman. Person, male, female, those are all their words as part of their game. So if you say, no, I am master, I am man, then those are common law terms. So yeah, I really think he does lay it out pretty well. I just started on his website, and basically it's so simple that it seems impossible. But they have made their system so complicated that you cannot go to court without you paying for your permission to enter the court with their agent. So they're all working together under their system that they've purposely complicated so you can't access it without money to be in their system. And therefore you have to completely engage in their corporation nation. I think that's
to play the devil's advocate, so to speak. That's where, I guess I could say it like this. The part of me that has a problem with all of that is, as in everything else, with the contradictions. It's like, because I mean, if we really hit it hard, what they're ultimately saying is, you don't have to pay taxes, you don't have to have a driver's license, you don't have to have a tag on your car. You know what I mean? You don't have to pay your tolls. There's people that take that position, and like, I've got a friend here, Brian, you remember Eric, obviously he's kind of out there, with his general behavior to begin with, I mean, and not necessarily that everybody who smokes pot is a screwball, but there are some people that smoke pot that are screwballs, and he's kind of in that, he's out there, he wraps himself in an American flag, but he says the American flag is the true American flag. They changed the colors of the original flag by one shade on the edges of it, and that's their flag and we have our flag. And he listens to all these videos about not contracting, and it's all words. But when you see somebody of that kind of caliber character, who's out there, and he's telling me that he's got $1,500 in bills that he's been sent by the Department of Transportation for tolls that he doesn't pay. I'm like, well, it's going to catch up to you. And he's like, how's it going to catch up to me? And I just feel for the guy. I can see the day coming where they put out a warrant for his arrest because he's over $2,000 or $5,000, and it becomes a felony, and he's in jail. So that whole contradictory reality of reality, of reality versus reality. I definitely need to have a better.
There, Mikey.
What's that?
Give the guy a chance. Watch some of his videos. And there's a big
I
case.
do.
Yeah.
I give all of them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm sitting by watching and trying to learn a little bit more about it. I love the idea. I love the concept. Steve, who we've yet to have you on the show with Steve. I'd love to have Steve on while you're on the show, Tim. He's
all right.
Kind of like the guy that we consider a great legal mind. And he has kind of an interesting twist in the sense that he says a lot of the same things that, you don't have to pay taxes, and I don't have to do this, and I don't have to do that, and I don't engage in contracts, but he bases it actually on law. He says,
I might say, Casey,
if you actually know the law, the real law, if you actually know what law really is, not the games they play and the little, procedural laws they come up with to manipulate people, but the law that's in the Constitution and the law that's in, like, for instance, they've said that
when a governor or a mayor issues an executive order or a mandate, that it does not apply to the people. It only applies to government agencies. So these executive orders they're putting out that are manipulating and controlling people and telling them what to do and what not to do and how to wear a mask is invalid, not just illegal and unconstitutional, that it's invalid because whenever they write an order, it can only apply to government entities. It can only
Right,
apply to
yes.
that which they
The
create.
executive. It can only apply to the executive. It can only apply to the people if it's passed by the legislature of every state. And none of these, they're only operating under emergency laws, period. And that is where they can issue orders that supersede all the constitutions of the world. But they're not, they're just not, they don't apply to the people because they're not passed by any legislature. So,
Well, I know it seemed like Tom Burnett talks about common law a lot, and it seemed like one time he said, yeah, I like the idea of certain things, but it hasn't really been proven yet, where people are getting wins and stuff. So he said wait till before you put all your eggs in that basket to see if it produces wins in the courts and such. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't know if he was talking about exactly common law, basic stuff that you're talking about, but it seemed like he had mentioned that.
But our team
I think I'm going to watch a bit of the debate now just
and
for a
offer
laugh.
expert
You guys are
insight
coming
and
up against the
analysis and
presidential
provide
debate,
checking
so
during the debate.
I'm going to
You can
bail,
go to
I think.
NBC
Yeah.
News.
Hey, Hannah.
Let's get started.
Hannah?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, sir.
Hannah Jackson, who is
Yeah,
inside the debate
thank you so
hall.
much for the phone call. I've saved
Yeah,
your
of
number on my
course.
phone, and
Yes.
I'll put you. I'll send you a text, and you can send me your email, and we'll put you on our email mailing list and keep in
That
touch.
sounds great.
And feel free to
Yeah.
come in any night, Monday through Friday night. We enjoy having you.
Yeah,
Focus
absolutely.
this week
Thank
has
you.
gotten
I
more
wanted to
intense as
ask
he-
you, because you mentioned a few platforms. Do you have Venmo?
What is it?
Yeah, Venmo, Mike.
Yeah, Venmo is like a PayPal, but
Oh, yes.
I think
Yeah.
it is owned by PayPal, but you don't pay a fee when
Yeah, I do have
someone
Venmo.
sends
I
you
do
money.
have a Venmo
Okay,
account.
very good. Yeah, would
Yeah,
you text me the barcode and I'll, like I said, I like to
Yeah,
reciprocate.
you could actually use my phone number with Venmo.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I
Okay.
appreciate that so much.
I'll try
Thank
it that way. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you guys.
All
you.
right.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Tim,
Yeah,
have a
thank
great
you.
night.
Good
Kenny,
night,
have a great
everyone.
night.
Look at
Thanks.
this woman on NBC News is all messed up on the
Thank
TV.
you.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
It was nice to meet
Yeah,
you guys.
nice to
Thank
meet
you.
y'all.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Hannah.
Take care.
Thanks.
Cracker Jack, I guess
Bye. Thank you.
we'll do it again tomorrow night if you're going to be watching the debate, or probably not.
Yeah, I'm
right.
signing out myself, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch it. Are you going to watch it, Kenny, or what? The debate?
No, it's going to make me sick to my stomach.
I know. That's what I'm thinking.
And so I'm just going to wait and just listen tomorrow, I guess, to the talking heads.
Right. Listen to Alex. He'll probably explain it all.
Well, Alex is running it live tonight, but it's just going to make me sick. I know it.
Yeah. There's actually a place right down the road at a barn where, Republicans are meeting with the big screen TV and watching the debate. So I may run over there just to be with some live humans.
Are they going to ice down some beer?
Probably Coronas. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure nobody's going to be wearing masks in there. So that's going to be great.
Well, heck, that's the place to be, man.
I know. Yeah, I think I'm going to head over. Mike had talked about maybe we just show the debate and then, sit and watch it and laugh at it or whatever. But
Nah, it's just going to be sickening.
I know.
I mean, it's our country, and it makes me just want to throw up.
Do you think it'll be better after November 3rd? Just because
I don't know, but with Florida making that move, to get rid of fines and saying we'll never lock down again, and that's what I need to hear. I want to hear it in Louisiana, though.
Yeah. I was thinking, Mike. It seems like his gigs should start back up then if If
Yeah, they're starting up in over there, but only in the outskirts, not in the city. And New Orleans is going to be the same thing because the cities are so tight. And anyway,
I mean, but it seems like if that's DeSantis's proclamation, that it seems like some businesses will definitely open up and just say the hell with it. You can't.
yeah, there's bands playing down there, but they're outside and under tents and things like that. So is anybody else on here?
Nope, just us two right now.
Look up. David Icke did a brief discourse on admiralty law.
Okay.
It was a book called The Biggest Secret, and I read that in the late 90s. He predicted 9/11 in the book, and if you get an old copy of the book, you can read the prediction, and he was dead on. He said that they were going to start a war with the Muslims, and so if you can find an old copy of The Biggest Secret, it's a hell of a read, and it'll make you sick too, because they talk about adrenochrome,
wow,
and pedophilia and child sacrifice.
Damn.
And it's a horrible book. But when you start reading it, you can't put it down.
The Biggest Secret?
The Biggest Secret. Now look, admiralty law is the American flag with the gold fringe. And so when you go to court and you go in there and you see the flag in the corner and it's got gold fringe going around it. And that means that the law in the court is the Commonwealth of Britain. And so back in the old days when America was established and they broke away and started America, and in other words, they gained their independence, they were broke. They didn't have any money. They had a lot of resources, but they didn't have, you just have to read his take on it. So anyway, they made a deal with the Americans to rule secretly. And so when you read The Biggest Secret, if you can get a copy of that, it's a crazy book. Okay. But I read that in the late 90s, and man, it's just jam packed with just all kind of stuff.
Well, on the second edition, it's got a picture of Diana, Princess Diana.
Right. If you can find an old copy that's not second edition, that's the one you want. But I don't think they changed the main course of the book on the second edition. In fact, I perused the second edition one time, and all of the information was the same, I think. Well, of course, I didn't go tit for tat or anything, but
what it says here is updated second edition includes the background to the murder of Diana, Princess of Wales.
Right. He says that she was pregnant, and it was going to be a scandal for the royal family, and so, I mean, she was sleeping with the son of the owner of the big store in England. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but it was an Arabian guy, or an Arab guy, or a Muslim guy that owned the big fancy department store in England, and she was dating the son of that guy, I think.
Right. Fayed or something.
Fayed, yeah, Fayed. Anyway, it's been so long ago since I read that. I've lost a lot of the details of that through time. But anyway, they said she was pregnant. So when they autopsied her, they took the fetus and they used it in some kind of a ritual.
Oh boy.
I don't know that they saved it, the fetus or anything, but they definitely wanted the blood, and they were going to use the blood for something. Ike gets into that, and he says it's dimensional stuff. I know you're recording this, and I don't. You probably won't post this one, so I just know that when you get into the biggest secret, it's a trip. It's a big trip.
He's got at the very beginning of the book, crazy. There are many who will dub me a nut for what I have written in this book. My reply is this: today's mighty oak is just yesterday's nut that held its ground.
Yeah, yeah. The biggest secret was it was a tough time for me because the book just drew me in, and I wanted to digest the information so bad. And I even had a girlfriend break up with me because I had to read that book. And I read the book straight through. I fasted the book. I didn't take any breaks.
How long?
And I would eat. I would go to the bathroom, and that was it. I read that. It was like it was a bookathon.
Wow, because it's they got it on Kindle for $11.
Yeah, you should copy of that. It's a hellacious read. I mean, the whole thing about adrenochrome, and then he talks about China Lake and how they had this underground facility where they caged children, and they would turn on strobe lights, and then they would come in and take one of the children out of the cage and kill it in front of the other children. And so the reason they would do that is because when they see the child being murdered in front of them, then next time the strobe light comes on, they get scared really bad, and that's what creates the adrenochrome.
Right.
And they extract it out of the brain. Of course, taking it out of the brain kills the child, and you can't take it. They basically run a needle into the stem of the brain,
right,
into the wherever the adrenaline is produced. I guess that's a pineal or pituitary, and just the needle itself going in there kills the individual. And it's insane. It's insane.
Well, they have.
You grow up in a world where you think things are a certain way, and then you find out that this kind of shit is going on, and it's just disheartening, man.
Right.
Totally.
Like what's the use? There's too much crazy stuff going on. It looks like you can read the first 3 chapters on Amazon.
Well, there you go. That's a good start. But anyway, I read that in 98 or 99, whenever it came out. And he predicted that they were going to create a war with the Middle East or Afghanistan or the Muslims.
Right.
And that's exactly what they did. And, I'd already read that before it went down, before 9/11. 9/11 was 2001, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And so I knew that he's a force to be reckoned with, man, that guy.
That was basically 19 years ago, I guess.
I know. Yeah, I had to digest that book, man. When I got it, I couldn't put it down. I just knew that I had to get that info in my mind so that I could go forward from there. And then when things would come up, I would remember segments out of that.
Cool.
He also talks about Planet X in there and the Anunnaki.
Oh yeah.
He brings them up, and
little picture
and
of
the fact that we were originally, our job was to mine gold, and they were actually mining the gold themselves, and it was so hard, and they decided that they were going to create a worker. And so they took the highest developed primate, and they added their DNA to the primate and created us to mine gold in South Africa. And that was what we were intended to do. And of course, Zachariah Sitchin, the Earth Chronicles, is the same thing. He says that when you dig up, when they were digging these things up in the valley, Mesopotamia, the Tigris, the Euphrates, Babylon. It's what is Iraq today, I guess.
Mm.
It's at the top of the Persian Gulf. Anyway, they were digging these cuneiforms up out of the ground, and then he figured out how to read it, or somebody figured out what it meant, and so a lot of it was just information about society, about procedures, laws, taxes, just basic stuff. But in there, there was a section about how they had designed man to mine the gold, and some of them were upset because not only did they create us, but we also were given eternal life, because the Anunnaki have eternal life, and they didn't want us to have it, and so they tried to destroy us. And some of the Anunnaki liked us, and then some of them didn't. And when you read the Anunnaki story of the Middle East, or Iraq, I guess, then you find out the pantheon of gods, Anu, and she, one of them wanted us to be able to live and survive, but they were pissed off because when they sparked the seed with the primate, they gave us eternal life, and they didn't like that. They didn't want us to have that. And so when I die, that's not the end of the story. There's another aspect that comes about, and that's basically what the Bible says anyway, is that they twisted it so that if you don't believe in this certain thing, then you go to hell, and if you do believe in this certain thing, you go to heaven. Right. But in the story, in the Mesopotamian hierarchy, that's not what it is we already have that, and that we will continue on. I don't know if it's through reincarnation, or if we just go to another plane, or maybe when we die, the parallel universe kicks in, and then we really don't, and we never do. And so I don't know what it is, but I'm just telling you what I've read. Right. So the Earth Chronicles is a great read. You should probably try to read some of that stuff. That's 6 books. The first one is called The 12th Planet. And it's worth skimming through that. A lot of people shot it down, but there's a lot of stuff in there that makes good sense,
There's certain places you can go to get synopses of books. That I kind of like that idea. If if you don't want to read 6 books, maybe just at least get the synopsis, and then to see if you want to put all your
his layout in the 12th Planet is very interesting. The Great Pyramid was built for several reasons, but one of the reasons was to be a marker for landing. When they would come in from space, they needed some landmarks to direct them to the landing port. Right. And so they had this mountain over here, Mount Sinai, but it wasn't the real Mount Sinai, but that's the one that's sticking up. And so they needed another mountain placed in a certain spot. And so they built the Great Pyramid. Also, and this is another crazy thing about it, if you go on Google Earth and you type in the speed of light on the I don't know if you know this, but if you type it on the longitude latitude bar, I think it's 186,000 and something kilometers per second or miles per hour. It'll take you right to the Great Pyramid. And that's and I did it, and it does work, but you got to get the numbers right.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking of numbers, somewhere I saw if you take 2020 and either maybe multiply it by 666, it comes up like 333, something like that. I mean, those are, I guess.
Now, there's just a place in the Sinai Peninsula that is restricted airspace. You cannot go there.
Right.
If you fly into that, they'll shoot you down. And then there's a control center on the top of this hill, and that's an Anunnaki spot. And they have fought back and forth over the Sinai Peninsula. It was Israel's at one time, then it rolled over to Egypt, then it rolls back to Israel, back and forth, back and forth. So they've always fought over that land. But the one thing about it is you cannot go in there, and you cannot go to that hill. Now it triangulates in the 12th planet, the first book that Zecharia Sitchin wrote. He shows you the triangulation of that and where the spaceport is, and it's still there. As far as I know, it's still operating, but you cannot go there at all. That's some interesting stuff, man. Look, they actually flew a helicopter kind of close to it, and he was able to take some pictures of it, and that's in his book, Expedition, Earth Chronicles Expedition, or something like that. It's one of Zachariah's books. He's got some plates in there, and I actually copied those off onto my hard drive so I could forward them to you, and you can look at them on your computer, and you can see what kind of what's on there. You know, when you start looking at aerial stuff, it takes you a little while, but eventually you'll get used to seeing like L-shaped buildings, 90-degree angles that wouldn't normally be. And they have them on the moon too. They got L-shaped buildings all over the moon. And they try to smear them out, but some of them got out, and you can see them, especially in Copernicus. Copernicus has a pyramid, and it has L-shaped buildings all over the place. Smokestacks with steam coming out of them. Anyway, I'll try to forward those photos to you. I think I've got them on my hard drive, and you can look at the pictures without having to go buy the book.
Which is back at your Baton Rouge house.
Yeah, I scanned them though, so I think I do have them somewhere on my computer, so I could send them over to you. But you can see there's a facility there, and it's not, and then when you think about the Bible and the stories out of the Bible, they talk about the rumbling on the hill, and Moses comes down with the 10 Commandments and all that. That was the spaceport that he was standing at. And of course, now they're trying to say that that's not it, and it's on the other side of the Persian Gulf in Arabia. And now they're building a city in Arabia. It's a new city they're building. And that was as close as they could get and still be in Arabia and be near Israel. And it's called Neom. Neom. Have you heard of Neom?
Yeah, I think I saw a video about it where they were.
Okay. In the middle of Neom is a mountain, and they found the 12 columns that were listed in the Bible. And so they haven't announced it to the public yet, but when they get the city built, they're going to separate it, zone it away from the law, so that the women can go out on the beach and walk around without their head covered. Because in all the other places, Riyadh and all those, if a woman doesn't cover her head, they can chop her head off.
Right.
They don't usually do that, but they'll beat the fuck out of them and then tell them not to do it again. And they still have beheadings in the square in Riyadh, but they had to go underground with it because people kept posting them onto YouTube and stuff like that. And so they said, well, we can't do this anymore. Because, if they're going to build Neom and then try to turn it into a Mecca to a destination for, finance and research and industry, they're going to have to change their strategy. They can't just go up to somebody without a head cover and start hitting them with a switch, and beating them with a switch. So they're trying to draw people into it. And I'd love to go there and see everything. There's not going to be any automobiles. It's all going to be like Tesla technology. You're going to get on a taxi and it drives itself. And they've got beautiful beaches. And but anyway, in the middle of that is this mountain, and this is the mountain that Moses got the law from. Israel has common ancestry with a Muslim group or religion. Abraham was common to the Arab people and to the Jewish people. So they have a common grandparent. Were you aware of that?
Not probably specifically, but.
Well, we'll have to get into it one day when we not so burned out. I'll try to send some of that. I don't bring stuff up of like that when we talk on Zoom meetings because it's not the place for it. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and they're going to build Neom, and I think that city gets nuked in prophecy, and so they're going gangbusters to build this thing, and I don't know. There's a lot of shit, man. A lot of shit.
It seems like you could start a podcast and just talk about this stuff, and you start getting a big following of people that love this stuff.
I don't know anybody that's talking about that, but I haven't looked for it either. I'm sure there's a lot of Sitchin fans out there that want to go out to the Sinai Peninsula and go up onto the top of that mountain, but they're not going to make it. It's all fenced off, and they probably even have mines and stuff. And if you try to fly over it, they'll shoot you down. So it doesn't matter who owns it, whether it's Israel or Egypt. Either way, it's restricted airspace, and you can't even get a view of it.
Right.
All right, man. Well, that was a good meeting. You had some new people, and
Hannah. So, what do you make of this? The numbers, the numerology and stuff. What is it's 2020 divided by 666, and it says equals 3.033033033033033. But those are kind of numbers that, like the 666 is what, the devil? Or something?
No, Sitchin talks about 666 in the Earth Chronicles. It's the last book. It's called the Cosmic Code. And he describes 666 as a description of the Anunnaki. That number represents the Anunnaki. Now, it is ascribed to Satan. And that's why you see, Iron Maiden, Mark of the Beast, 666. It's all just distortion, but the number itself, he breaks it down into why it represents the Anunnaki, and it's not the way you think. He takes the 600 and that equals something, and then he takes the 60 and that equals something, and he takes the 6 and that equals something. And so I'll have to pull that page up. I don't have it here. It's in Baton Rouge, but the last book, The Cosmic Code. Look, that book is a good read because it talks about language and writing and speaking and how complicated it is to be able to talk to someone, express some meaning, and then write it down on a piece of paper. That could not have been developed by your average everyday guy. It just, when you look at it and read it, it does make sense that the whole process of talking and writing is complicated, and we take it for granted, but it was invented by a higher power. It wasn't invented by us. And if you read it out of the book, he makes better sense out of that than I can. I mean, you want to think that we just started grunting and you know, and then somehow it turned into some kind of a letter, you know. That's just BS. And when you read his take on it, you'll understand he's right, that the whole process of language and writing and speaking and making sense is highly, highly evolved. You know, it's a gift from God. Our ability to communicate with one another is a gift from God. And it just further solidifies the fact that we're not evolved, we're created. And I believe that. But I mean, I'm not a Bible guy, but I can promise you that we didn't just evolve to this. And when people talk evolution, I don't ever get into it. But when you read that in the Cosmic Code, there's a bunch of stuff in the Cosmic Code. There's a bunch of different things in there. Did you know that when you go up on the Temple Mount and you go into the mosque up there, that mosque has a moon surface. It's like a section of the rock that sticks up out of the ground, and they just built this thing over the top of it. That's why it's called the Dome of the Rock. And the rock is that section that sticks up. There's a hole cut in that goes straight down into the ground. It's about 3 feet circular in circumference. And then there's a stairway that goes down, and then there's a cave underneath. And so a lot of people don't know that that's there. And so there's a lot of shit that people just aren't aware of. You know, your average everyday Christian doesn't even know that, you know, that they say that's where the Solomon's Temple was located. And in the book, in the Earth Chronicles, he talks about how it was situated in that spot. And of course, the Jews want to tear that mosque down, and they want to build Solomon's Temple back again in the same spot that it was. And so that mosque is number 2 in the line of importance for Muslims. Number 1 is Mecca. And Mecca is their number 1 spot. And that's why they have their pilgrimage, and they go and then they walk around the big thing, round and round and round. And they just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Some crazy shit. Yeah, there's some rocks down under the ground under that temple in Jerusalem that weigh 800 tons. And it was placed. It wasn't poured. They cut the rock and they brought it to that spot. And there's a couple more, or 3 more, up in Lebanon at Baalbek. And one of those rocks is estimated to be 1,200 tons. And it was lifted and placed.
Sounds
And Zachariah talks about what its function was. It was a spaceport, and they used that's where they took off from in Baalbek. And when the Romans got there, they saw this big ass rock, or these three rocks. They call it the Trilithon, and that's where they built Jupiter's temple for Rome, or what was I saying?
the
Anyway,
rocks were a spaceport.
that's where they took off from. They took off from Baalbek, and when you triangulate it with the Great Pyramid and Mount Sinai, the one they think is Mount Sinai, right in the middle is that spot on the Sinai Peninsula. And so they show the triangle, and then right in the middle, whoop, that's where that control center is. And they don't want anybody to go near that. And like I said, you can't go to it. They'll kill you, and you'll never make it in there.
Did you talk about any of this stuff with Ross growing up or later on in life or anything? Or
No. Man, everything I dug up on my own. Nobody did nothing for me. Everything I got, I pulled out of books, bookshelves. Somebody gave me a video a long time ago, and this was the very first thing I got. It was an old, just beat up VHS tape. You could barely even see the pictures anymore, but you could hear the audio. And I think I still have that thing somewhere. But anyway, they talked about the JFK assassination. That was Bill Cooper. Bill Cooper was on that, and he talked about just all kinds of stuff on there, man. He disclosed who is Central Intelligence Agency, and people that you wouldn't expect to be, involved that way. When you see these guys, they're so nice and they talk to you, and oh yeah, but they're in the loop. They, like Tom Hanks. Who would ever think that he would be involved in the things that they say he's involved in? We're talking Forrest Gump here, man.
Yeah.
So did he ride the Lolita Express? They're supposed to release that list pretty soon of all the people that flew on that jet down there. There's a lot of names on there. A lot of celebrities.
I wonder if The Rock will be on there.
There's no telling. But man, all of the stuff that I gathered over time, the biggest secret was a big, huge source of information, and of course the Earth Chronicles. See, I picked all those books out of Barnes and Noble. I would go in there and go to the freak section, I called it, where they had all of the conspiracy theory, and they had different names for it. New Age, they call it sometimes. They changed the names of stuff. They don't call it New Age anymore. But you got parapsychology, and then you got New Age, and then I would just go in there by myself and just dig through the books. And that's how I found the biggest secret. I mean, if you're looking at a big line of books and you see the biggest secret, aren't you going to grab it? I mean, don't you want to know what the biggest secret is?
Yeah, I guess you would check it out. Yeah.
I grabbed it immediately. And as soon as I picked it up, I was like, oh my God, holy crap. But anyway, I don't know, man. I don't know.
David Icke was a young man back then, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff, came about from him talking to other people, like Credo Mutwa from South Africa.
Wow, I'm looking at a picture of him back when he wrote it. He's a young, like a BG.
Yeah. He had the Credo talked about the reptilians, and he said he would see them, in some of the rituals. And of course, shape-shifting is involved. He discusses shape-shifting, and he said that people can't comprehend shape-shifting because it's actually shifting in dimension in front of your eyes. And so the royal family, Prince Charles and the mother and the grandmother too, and the husband, you know, the guy's old as the hills and he's still walking around, and he's not the king. And do you ever wonder why? You ever wonder why they don't have a king?
I didn't really know they didn't have one, but I mean,
Look, when they walk into the room, the queen leads, the husband follows. He's not the king. The queen is the ruler, and she's the head of the church.
right.
So the Church of England, I'm fixing to run out of battery.
Oh yeah, I see your video's gone.
Okay, man. Well, we'll catch up.
All right, cool. Thanks, Ken.
All right, bye.
Later.
Okay.